Welcome aboard the Little Side Hustle Experiment Express to see if together we can turn other people's ideas into profits. G'day, I'm Darren from Mr. Craftsmith, and like you, I've fallen down the YouTube rabbit hole more times than I care to remember, watching hours upon hours of videos claiming to unveil the next easy sell that will make you good money with just a few zaps of your laser. Sound familiar? And let's be honest, we've all seen those thumbnails, bright, flashy and promising performance and profits. It's enough to make one curious, a little bit excited, or maybe even a touch skeptical. So I've done more than just watch them. I've compiled a hefty list of these videos, analysed them, and now it's time to put these best sellers to the test. Now together we can explore these popular projects to see if they truly deliver on their promises, and starting from scratch, I'll share every step of this experiment with you. From initial setup mishaps to hopefully more sales and money in the kitty. But knowing myself, there's bound to be some pretty bad decisions along the way, but it's really the only way to learn, right? And who knows, maybe we'll even uncover some hidden gems that are not only fun to make, but also lucrative to sell. We might just debunk a few myths in the process. Either way, you'll get all of my insights and learnings along the way. So if you've also spent hours watching these videos, wondering if you can do it too, I reckon you're in the right place. So let's fire up those lasers and see what is really worth engraving into our side hustle experiment. Stick around because I reckon it's going to be enlightening. Now, if you're still with me at this point, then I reckon we've probably got a few things in common. So to get to know each other a little bit better, I just want to share a little bit about myself so as you know where I'm coming from. Now, I currently run my own volume photography and live streaming business with my wife, and in some capacity over the years, I've always had side hustles and the desire to have my own business and to sort of control my own destiny, I guess. Now, I've always thought of life as an opportunity to experiment and make new experiences. So I got into laser engraving a little over 15 months ago to solve a problem that I was having with my live streaming business. So I'd outsourced engraving my logo onto some little USB boxes that I provide to my clients, but I wanted to personalise the back of the box with the details of the event. And in true style, I've always thought that whatever equipment I invest in, it has to make a return to pay for itself. Now, I've had some success with selling some laser engraved products prior to Christmas, and it's definitely paid for itself, but I never really gave it the time to turn it into a proper side hustle, I guess, to make some regular income. Now, with all of that in mind, what I've learned over the years is that you absolutely must have a reason why you'd want to try anything new. And in fairness, a lot of us probably stop at that point of saying, well, we just want to make some extra cash. Now, it's not that it's not true, but what I've found, however, is that just the extra cash alone is not motivation enough. You really have to nut out what that extra money is for and imagine how you'd feel when you've achieved that goal. Now, it might be that you want the extra money to support your hobby, so over time you can get better toys to play with. Don't mind that. You may need the extra cash to pay for bills that just keep mounting up. Or maybe you're saving for a holiday that you've always dreamed of taking. You may even be looking to break free from the employee shackles and create your own full-time business. So whatever the reason, just make sure it's cemented into your noggin, because that's when things get tough and you face those challenges, money by itself is just not going to get you through those hard times. Now, if you're thinking like myself of getting this laser engraving side hustle up and running, one of the biggest questions we have to ask ourselves is, well, what are we going to sell? And I guess that's the point of this video series and where it comes into play. You see, there's a bunch of creators out there in YouTube land in this laser engraving landscape suggesting to us what products to sell and sell fast. And I guess my question's always been, well, do they really sell? Now, this video and future videos will dive headfirst into this topic and take a closer look at what really works and what doesn't. Now, in order for this experiment to have some meaningful outcomes, I have to set some guidelines and parameters to follow. Otherwise, if I tried to implement everything that I've watched, it would pretty quickly turn into a dog's breakfast for sure. And one of my biggest constraints, and it could well be one that you have as well, is how much time that I can devote to this experiment. And because it is a side hustle and I still want to be able to sleep at night, I will have to limit how much time I can spend each week to get this up and running. I will need to allocate time to the following areas. There's product research, manufacturing and testing, establishing sales platforms, product photography, marketing, raw material sourcing, pricing strategies, customer service, product fulfillment, packaging and distribution, and finally, reporting this all back to you guys. So right away, you can see just how important it is to have a very clear and compelling reason why you want to tackle something like this. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I have watched a bunch of videos on this topic, and here's what I've found. Now, to preface my findings, this is not meant to discredit or trash talk any creators in this laser engraving space. There's a bunch of the creators out there that I follow regularly, and I enjoy and value their content, and I have the highest regard for what they do. Okay, the exciting part. Now, I know you've all been chomping at the bit to know what products to sell. So based on all the research and videos I've watched, I've compiled the following list of products that you and I can start selling and sell fast. So have you got your notepads ready? Okay, here we go. We've got coasters, keychains, custom signs, rolling pins, charcuterie boards, aluminium business cards, aluminium pet tags, bottle openers, anodized aluminium wallets, leatherette journals, pocket knives, children's cutlery sets, lighters, earrings, leather wallets, custom mirrors, tumblers, shot glasses, wine caddies, prayer crosses, wooden photo frames, leather hat patches, colouring pencils, coffee mugs, custom engraved boxes, ornaments, family signs, maps, there's educational toys and puzzles, beer caddies, trophies and awards, cutting boards, LED signs, door hangers, wooden kitchen utensils, kids' room signs, hair clips, song lyrics wall art, piggy banks, and lantern boxes, just to name a few. Okay, so it looks like we're all set to cash in. Now, I hope by this stage you're beginning to get an understanding about the lessons in this video. Now, I know once I'd started watching all these videos, it became pretty apparent to me what lessons are to be learnt. The fundamental understanding that we all have to acknowledge and accept is this. What may work for them may not work for me and you, and vice versa. And there's a bunch of factors that validate this statement. For a start, I know that around 99.98% of you watching this video don't live where I live. I'd even go as far as to say that 97% of you live on the opposite side of the world. So let's talk more about the additional factors that we need to consider and implement as part of our strategy to get this side hustle up and running. Now, firstly, the important thing here is that you just have to start. Understandably, this can be the most daunting part for a lot of people, and sometimes you just got to grit your teeth, bite the bullet, and just jump in and get things rolling. Yes, there's a risk that I might fail miserably, but if I don't give it a crack, there's a guaranteed risk of failure. Now, that doesn't mean I have to throw caution to the wind, and there's no way that I have time or spare cash sitting around to invest in a whole bunch of stock across 40 different product lines that I've just mentioned. It's just impractical. So for this experiment, I'm going to narrow it down to maybe 5 products that I want to work with just to kick things off. Next up, we have to understand what equipment that we have access to and what are its capabilities. So there'd be no point me getting excited about offering acrylic products, which I know are quite popular at the moment, because I've only got access to diode lasers at present, and to work effectively with acrylic products, I'd need to have a CO2 laser. Now, similarly, if I wanted to engrave metal products, then I'm going to need to invest in a fibre laser. And yes, one of my goals down the track is to get a CO2 laser and a fibre laser to expand my capabilities. But at present, I just have to be realistic about what sort of products that I can offer with the diode lasers I've got to work with. And because I've also got limited time, at this stage, my focus will be on products that don't require a lot of cutting and assembly. Okay, so who are we going to sell our products to? Now, from my perspective, with my limitations that I have around time, I want to take a more targeted approach towards a couple of different potential niche audiences. Now, I've learned all too often with previous business that if you try and sell to everyone, you'll have a hard time selling to anyone. And, as time goes by and sales increase, I'm definitely happy to revisit this topic and consider expanding into other niches. So where am I going to sell? We all need to have a sales platform of some description if we want to sell products. That just comes with the territory. And sales platforms can come in a variety of forms. It might be in-person sales at your local farmers market or craft fairs. It could be in-person sales with local businesses. Now, I've found some previous success with Facebook Marketplace as a sales platform, and there's always other options like Etsy and Shopify and other similar platforms. Now, of all the videos that I have watched, I didn't really see too much information about anyone suggesting utilising a potential client base, which I would commonly refer to as low-hanging fruit. And that was a little surprising, to be honest. Now, if you're doing this as a side hustle like me, that would usually suggest that we're already engaged in a community or workplace doing something else. And for example, my full-time business, as I mentioned, the volume photography and live streaming service, I see a huge opportunity with our volume photography side of business to market laser engraved products to them. And there's a couple of reasons for that. They already know, like, and trust what we do. And so I don't really have to establish any more rapport, which, that can consume a lot of time and energy. So if you're thinking about it yourself, just take a close look at the communities and workplaces that you might be part of and understand how you might be able to solve problems with your products to that particular audience. I'll also focus on local business-to-business sales and Facebook Marketplace. And for the time being, I'm just going to park Etsy and Shopify to the side before I make that commitment to online sales. So you might be thinking at this stage, well, he hasn't tested anything yet. Well, yes and no. As I previously mentioned, I have had some success with a couple of different products, and they may form part of the product lineup. I guess the important takeaway from this video that I really want you to understand is quite simply this. There is a good chance that given the right audience, the right sales platform, and the right timing, that you could pretty much sell any of the products that I mentioned in that very long list I mentioned earlier. Now, all of the creators in those videos may very well have had success with items that they've mentioned, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to you having the same success, as your circumstances and opportunities may be completely different to theirs. So in my opinion, it's probably more important to understand who you're going to potentially sell to and what problems they might be having, and then identify a product or service that you can provide to fill that void. Look, there's definitely no silver bullet or secret formula to guarantee your success other than giving it a crack yourself and just put in the work. So back yourself and just get started. Look, I believe you can do it, so come and join me and we'll learn along the way. Now, if you've got any questions or suggestions on content you'd like me to cover in this series, make sure to pop them down in the comments. And I promise you, in the next video, I will share what products I've decided to run with and break down further how I plan on getting around to making it happen. In the meantime, let me know in the comments what products you might sell yourself, or even better, what I should sell. And I've also heard, little birdie told me, that if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, clicking on that subscribe button and the bell icon, it'll bring you extra luck in fast tracking your success. So if it was me, I'm pretty sure I know what I'd be doing. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, be creative and stay grateful. Bye for now.